Hello everyone, Golden Nova here, and welcome back to Solo Mode Stories, the series where I narrate and analyze the lore provided to us in Master Duel. Last time we covered Monarchs, Element Sabers, and Element Lords, and dived into how these attribute-centric engines of primal destruction lined up with the mechanics and artwork provided to us by their cards. Today, we'll be doing the same thing with a couple of archetypes that really rock, Megaliths and Gem Knights. How well does Master Duel portray these themes? Do they line up with how the cards currently work? Do they add anything to our current understanding of their lore? Watch and find out. Chapter 3: The Mystery of the Megalith. In ancient times, many monumental stone structures were built. Stone circles and pyramids are some examples of this. However, in many other worlds, there are various types of colossal structures. Let's take a look at one of these, the grand stone structures known as the Megalith. The Megalith Ophiel is a white statue that resembles an angel. Her wavy hair hangs down to her shoulders, and her eyes are closed in a gentle expression. What catches the eye most of all are the wings on her back, like those of an angel. Her radiant holiness inspires reverence and modesty in all who behold her. On the other hand is the Black Devil, Megalith Hagith, a statue of a haggard devil crouching with contorted limbs. Its face hides behind a mask. The only clue at its expression is its slightly exposed mouth. The thorns that are driven into the sides of its body inspire dread in the beholder. The sculpture of two children, the white and black Megalith Oak. They appear a lovely pair of twins. By the shape of their wings, the white child appears to be an angel, while the black child appears to be a demon. It's also notable that they wear contrasting facial expressions. The pedestals of the Megalith are comprised of an unknown material, not of natural stone. Their distinct features include a heptagonal decoration and a pattern imbued with mysticism. What kind of power is hidden within these pedestals, which emit a gentle light? The pedestals of the Megalith may act as a door to another world, or a stake connecting another creature. Appearing from the pedestal of Megalith Ophiel, Megalith Phaleg boasts two pairs of wings. A far cry from the gentle Ophiel, this ferocious angel is adorned with a helmet and shield, wielding a spear. Appearing from the pedestal of Megalith Hagith, the great devil Megalith Bathor has four wings. It is a devil of formidable build with glaring golden horns. From the pedestal of Megalith Oak blazes the many-headed dragon Megalith Eratron. Its momentum threatens to flatten the earth and to swallow all. It can be said that all these comprise but one form of the power born from the Megalith, but that is not all. The Megalith have the power to create a kind of force field even after destroyed. How are they made? And what is the true identity of their hidden power? The Megalith are entities shrouded in great mystery. The key to solving this mystery may be a truth that emerges from beyond the Megalith themselves. So how does this line up with the cards we all know and love? Well, it takes a bit of a stretch, but it does kinda fit. The level 4 monsters all have effects that can ritual summon any monster, which can be seen as summoning monsters through their pedestal portals. We can see that Oak is being destroyed in the process of summoning Eratron in the art for Megalith Emergence, which can be attributed to being used as tribute for that ritual summon. The level 4s are also adept at getting you the material to perform those ritual summons, which feeds into the idea that these statues are here to help with ritual summoning. But what about the level 8s? They're discarded to ritual summon other Megaliths, but they're the ones emerging from the portals, not the ones summoning things from portals. Well, if we go back to the beginning, the story draws a line between the Megalith and the pyramids and stone circles, which I assume is meant to be a reference to Stonehenge. Now, as I said in the Chronomaly video, these structures have a lot of false theories surrounding them, saying that they're constructs of an alien race. And while, in reality, that's really insulting to the cultures that built them, this is a common trope in fiction, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was being used here to show the level 8s were sending the level 4s out across the universe, acting as portals for them to travel long distances. Heck, the field spell is even called Megalith Portal. But this process is not without its tragedies. The level 4s may appear to be static statues, and they do a great job of holding their poses, but when comparing the arts of Megalith Haggith and Promotion, it looks like Haggith's arms are no longer bent, but are completely straight. This could just be the effect of their bodies crumbling as part of the ritual summoning process, but the cracks don't seem to be made around the joints in a way that would show they were hanging off some kind of hinge. So the level 4s might themselves be sentient life forms that are meant to guide the portals to their destinations before being promoted to a high enough level, via promotion, to be sacrificed. Full, though, throws a bit of a wrench into everything. Megalith Unformed shows a circular portal made of the destroyed bits of the level 8s. Among other things, you can see Phaleg's spear, Bathor's golden rings, and Aratron's wings. But that doesn't really scan, right? It's the level 4s that are shown as getting demolished. Why have the level 8s suddenly been reduced to rubble? The only hint the game provides is the truth that emerges from beyond the Megalith, which I presume means Full since they are the center of the frame at the time, and is emerging from the portal, or force field, generated by the destroyed Megaliths. Looking over them, their strangest feature is the lack of a heptagonal base portal. Even the level 8s who emerged from the portals were never shown detached from them, but all Full has is a number of admittedly gorgeous crystal formations beneath their feet, as well as along their body. These are a largely new addition to the aesthetic. The only thing resembling crystals so far has been the yellow ones on Haggith's base, and they shine nowhere near as brightly. Since they're all rock monsters, I think this is a sign that Full is a higher order member of the theme, despite having the lowest level. There's a number of tangential facts that can help lead us to this conclusion. Unformed is generally how one is going to be summoning Full, and it requires double their level as tribute fodder. This means that either the process of summoning with Unformed is very wasteful, which isn't out of place considering all the supposedly needlessly smashed up level 8s, or points to how much power is needed to unleash Full's full potential. And while their printed level is 2, they can actually be 4 or 8, or really any level they want, depending on the ritual monster you add back from your grave to your hand. And this is further cemented by the fact that their on-field effect is a combination of the level 4s and 8s. They can ritual summon on the field like the level 4s, though don't need to destroy themselves to do so, and can only summon megaliths like the level 8, but it's even better than them because they can ritual summon from the deck. But lore-wise, why? Well, considering that the portals used to summon the level 8s are 7-sided heptagons, but the portal used to summon Full is just a circle, so they have some kind of difference. And I posit that it's because the circular one is stronger, having been made of the level 8s. If we assume that Full is the highest order of the megaliths, they might have orchestrated a means of sending out the level 8s into the universe, giving them the capabilities to make the level 4s. When the level 8s had traveled as far as they could, they would send out the level 4s, which would act as portals for the level 8s, which would then, at that point, be converted into portal material themselves to allow Full to travel the furthest distance across the cosmos. This is, of course, wild conjecture. Unless the level 8s were given some kind of self-destruct command upon using the level 4s, we'd still need to know how they ended up being sacrificed, especially because even a single level 8 is way too many levels if we wanted to summon Full using Unformed, which seems to be how they arrive considering their card art. Though the level 8s could have been destroyed as a result of Aratron's rampage, as pointed out in the Master Duel lore section. The last thing I wanted to touch on while we're here is what the megaliths are based on, the 7 Olympian spirits. These entities feature in a number of Renaissance and Renaissance-adjacent era books on, get this, ritual magic. The short version is that each of the 7 spirits hold sway over a set number of provinces in the universe, numbering 196 in total. Aratron rules over 49 of them, Bathor rules 42, and we go down the list, each one ruling 7 less provinces until we get to Full, who only rules 7. The descriptions for each one sounds like they're coming right out of the Goetia, with each spirit ruling some manner of arbitrary domain of magic and power. Interesting pieces of info I came across were that Aratron imparts the secrets of invisibility, which I think is a pretty fitting connection to its targeted effect negation. Phaleg is associated with military prowess, which matches its stat buff effect and overall warrior aesthetic, and Haggith can convert copper into gold, and its gold features are pretty prominent in the lore section. Overall, this story gives us a little trail of breadcrumbs that suggests some kind of interstellar transportation scheme, but doesn't really expound on the hows or whys. But the story lines up with the effects, and honestly, ludonarrative resonance means a lot to me. So really, not an outstanding chapter, but ended up being more than serviceable, a very solid lore section. Alright, it's time for a bit of an intermission. If you want to skip ahead, I've got time codes down below, but I wanted to take some time to ask, if you've enjoyed my work so far, be it from this video or others, if you do me the favor of hitting that subscribe button, as it helps the channel do better and gets us closer to the next milestone video, and if you could hit that like button, because that would be super great, and it helps this video do better. I'm also going to be reading off the names of my supporters at the end of the video, and if you'd like to be a part of those credits, please consider checking the links to my Patreon down below. That helps to keep me doing this full time, you get to be immortalized as part of the group that keeps me going, and you get my videos earlier than anyone else, no matter what tier you pledge at. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching, let's get back to the video. Chapter 4. The Pyrazine Warriors. Pyrazine Warriors, the Gem Knights with hearts of justice. Diligent in their training, but reluctant to utilize their prowess in battle, they led a peaceful existence. However, those calm days were threatened by the Flame People, the Laval. This aggressive nation of flame warriors sought to invade the land of the Gem Knights. Averse to this fruitless conflict, the Gem Knights did not aggressively engage them. But for the Laval, the inaction of the Gem Knights was fuel to the fire. Day by day, collisions increased between the Laval and the Gem Knights. At last, the Gem Knights resolved themselves to a full-on conflict to protect their homeland. The Gem Knights possessed a core that shone like a gem, which they activated as a force to aid them in battle. In addition, they could utilize the core to fuse with other knights to become even more powerful warriors. The fused Gem Knights include the following: Gem Knight Ruby, who repelled the enemy; Gem Knight Aquamarine, who defended its companions; Gem Knight Topaz, who tormented opponents. At first, some of the Gem Knights laid in waiting for their enemies, but eventually, they decided to fight one by one. In the midst of fierce battle, the Gem Knights fused further into even more powerful forms. However, this clash between the tribes was only the beginning of the turmoil that followed. The Gem Knights, who had risen to defend their comrades, were now caught up in the great swell of battle. At first, they loathed the conflict, but to counter that great evil, they eventually fused with other races to grow more powerful, such as the Vylon, who descended from heaven, or even the Laval themselves. The Gem Knights, the Pyrazine Warriors with hearts of justice. Their fate shall unfold in glorious detail in another tale. Another tale is right. Gem Knights are part of the Dual Terminal storyline, so their story goes far beyond what's shown here. But for now, we just get the basics. The Gem Knights are a group of noble pacifists who are assailed by the Laval, who reluctantly break their code to defend themselves, and are pushed even further into action when the Steel Swarm invasion occurs. At this point, the Gem Knights begin fusing with members of other clans to obtain new forms, as shown in the Gem Knights that require a particular type of monster, as opposed to specific Gem Knights. Prismara is very clearly combined with Vylon, as many of their members are Thunder type, and their shield appears to have Vylon Prison attached to it. Citrine is a little less specific, but its arms do look like they're made of molten magma, very much in line with the Laval. This leaves Amethyst, which should be a fusion with the Gishki, since they have a lot of Aqua type monsters, but aside from the Water Lance and shield, there isn't much connective tissue. One could argue that Amethyst has nothing to do with the Gishkis, and that they're just using another member of the Gem Knights, Sapphire, who is an Aqua type, who's seen as having control over water in their own artwork. In fact, each of the three original normal Gem Knights have a type that can make these fusions. Garnet is a Pyro for Citrine, and Tourmaline is a Thunder for Prismara. But the thing is, there's already Gem Knight fusions using those monsters. Garnet goes into Ruby, Tourmaline goes into Topaz, and Sapphire goes into Aquamarine. So if they're the fusion material being used to make the type-specific ones, why would they have a wholly different form instead of just continuing to be Ruby, Topaz, and Aquamarine? This is what really convinces me that the type-specific fusions, and later on Seraphonite needing a light monster, are fusions of Gem Knights with other tribes, and the fact that those other tribes are put front and center in this section of the lore really cinches it. Hey everyone, Editor Nova here with a quick note. Now that I've had some time to sit on this info, after writing and recording, now that I've gotten to see more of like the high quality images and kind of sit on the info for a bit, I've got a bit of a retraction. Looking at Amethyst, they do look a lot more like a fusion of Gem Knight Crystal and Yolite. The helmet's kind of similar on that one. And the whole thing where I say, like, why would the same Gem Knight cause different fusions? Well, that's the whole story behind Crystal, though. Like, Crystal fuses with Prismara, fuses with Prisma to make Prismara, but it's also, like, them fusing with Yolite to make Amethyst, and doing that a whole bunch is what causes them to turn into, like, a weird shit-all creature. So I kind of retract that. It's weird because, like, I think it was my pattern recognition brain wanting to make all of the type Gem Knight fusions all have the same kind of thematic origin, when that simply just isn't the case here. Now, I would ask why only one of the Gemini Gem Knights is part of this cycle, whereas Sardonyx and, I don't know, this one? I don't know where I'll put it. Don't seem to be a genuine factor in any of these, at least that I could see, but I wanted to put all this in here just to show that sometimes you get set on an idea for reasons you're not entirely sure of at the time, and then you come back to it and realize that, hey, actually you were wrong, and you had kind of forced some ideas that didn't really hold up under some scrutiny, and I wanted to show that that happens to big people like me. I don't know why I said big. Anyway, this is kind of rambling and off script. I want to make sure this made it in here. Let's go on to the next one. Goodbye, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye. Now, the term Pyrazine keeps coming up in this lore. It's also in the title for the next Legendary Duelist pack, Duelists of Pyrazine. But what does it mean? Well, if I quoted the Wikipedia article, I'd be here for a long time reciting terms and phrases I'm not at all familiar with. But to boil it down, it's a kind of rock and a lot of them are crystalline. This is why it's associated primarily with Earth attribute monsters when used, and usually refers to gems and crystals, and thus, the Gem Knights. But as far as lore goes, that's about as far as we get. Most of this information has been available to anyone who's looked up the translated dual terminal lore, but for anyone who hasn't gone looking, or hasn't found it yet, now has a much more accessible way to learn about this, which is very nice. So while it doesn't add a whole lot to existing canon, I'd say it's still a pretty good lore segment. But now, I want to turn things over to all of you. Do you feel like the solo modes from Megalith and Gem Knights did the theme justice? Was there anything I missed that you wanted to see covered? And do you have any theories on the nature of the Megalith? I know I did a lot of leaps and bounds on that one, so I'd love to see where your line of thought goes. Let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode, hit that like button to help the video out, and share this video with someone you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially if they love Yu-Gi-Oh! Lore. It really does a lot to help me out. Today's episode was brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commander, Adam Zagidel, Nebula Navigators, Ava Goulet, Ashling Waltz, Benjamin Meisner, Biohazard 011, Eric, Frankie, Genesis Yu-Gi-Oh!, Gloomba 331, Great Big Pillock, Howling Zangetsu, Inblink, Ironic, John Manji, Julia Sneezer, Panther J, Rebel King Lucifer, Ruxith Sarani, Shooting Star 3300, The Fresh Prince of Conair, The Wizard Moose and Xander Wolfensberger, Cosmic Crusaders, Bear Sharktopus Studios, Serb, Chaz Ghost, Corbinisms, Cozy Boat 275, Jesus Garcia, Manga Pages, Marion James E. Picata, Nitromo, RGS, Rem T. Bright and the Legendary Raven, as well as the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. I'm only able to continue doing this thanks to the support of these lovely people, so if you'd like to be a part of these credits as well as help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, please check out my YouTube membership or Patreon links in the description to see if I have anything you'd like on offer. And if you want to see more solo mode stories, check out this video where I cover Monarch and Element Sabers. And if you want to see two Yu-Gi-Tubers going at it, check out Noah Jenkinai's latest series, Progression Polls, where your voice shapes the format. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.